Welcome to 2.2. So in 2.1 we multiplied positive and negatives. Now we're decimals. We're now going to divide positive and negative decimals. So let's make sure we know how to divide. So you read that as 72 divided by 3. So 3 goes into 7 2 times, and you cannot write that 2 just anywhere. It has to go above the 7. Neatness counts in division. 2 times 3 is 6, right? We subtract the 6 and get a 1 remainder, that's called. We bring down the 2. 3 goes into 12 4 times. That 4 goes above that 2. 3 times 4 is 12. We get a remainder of 0, and that indicates that we're done. So 72 divided by 3 is 24. Okay, so now do the rest of the problems. Well, the next one is 7.2 divided by 3. 3 goes into 7 still twice, remainder 1. But what do we do now? Before we bring down this 2, there's something to do. Decimal point goes straight up. And I say straight up, and I get students that put it way over there. That's not straight up. So then you bring down the 2. 3 goes into 12 still, but 7.2 divided by 3 is 2.4. Do the next two problems. So the first number, it's not the biggest number, it's the first number, goes inside. 72 hundredths is not bigger than 3. Right? And so it's 0.72 or 72 hundredths divided by 3. What do you do first here? Decimal has to go straight up. 3 goes into 7 2 times. 2 goes above the 7. Remainder 1. Bring down the 2. 3 goes into 12 4 times. One more time. I didn't finish over here. I should have. And so this is 0.24 or 24 hundredths. The final one is 72 thousandths divided by 3, or 0.072 divided by 3. Decimal still goes straight up. Now, what do you do next? 3 goes into 0 0 times. You have to put that 0. You cannot just skip over it. There are times in division where you skip over putting a 0. That is not one of them. 3 goes into 7 2 times again. That 2 goes above the 7. We subtract 7 from the 6 and get 1. We bring down the 2. 3 goes into 12 4 times. And we're done. And it's 0.024 or 24 thousandths. Neatness counts in division. So here's an example of 34.5. divided by 2. Here I had to add a 0 to finish off the problem. But so if someone had $34.50 and you wanted to share it, you would divide by 2, right? And each person would get $17.25. So when dividing decimals, make sure the decimal point goes straight up. So do this problem. You shouldn't need my help. 8 doesn't go into 2. Now there's a 0 that's going to go away. You can put it or not. This one is going to go away because it's on the left side of the decimal point. 8 goes into 25 3 times. The 3 has to go above the 5. It goes over the last digit you divide into. So 3 times 8 is 24, remainder 1. Before you bring down the 6, decimal goes straight up. Then you bring the 6 down. 8 into 16 goes twice. And so 25.6 divided by 8 equals 3.2 or 3 2/10. So what is 27 divided by 2? So we do 27 divided by 2. 2 goes into 2 once. Bring down the 7. 2 into 7. 3 times. 2 times 3 is 6. Remainder 1. What do you do now? Well, 27 has a decimal point at the end. So even though we didn't see it, it's there. It's at the end, and you need to do what? Bring it up. Then what do you always do in division if you're out of numbers? You add a 0 and bring it down. 2 into 10 goes 5. 2 times 5 is 10. So 27 divided by 2 is 13.5. When you take an odd number, like 27, 29, 31, and divide by 2, you're always going to get a 0.5. But even numbers, when you divide by 2, come out nicely. It's the actual definition of an even number, that when you divide it by 2, it comes out nicely. So try that. Decimal in 94 goes straight up, 0 straight down. 94 divided by 5 is 18.8, or 18 8/10. Right, so this is the only thing that messes students up with this lesson. Sometimes you need a 0, and sometimes to leave a 0, and sometimes you don't. So do both of these problems. Well, 12 goes into 7 0 times, decimal straight up. 12 goes into 72 6 times. 6 times 12 is 72. And so the answer to this one is 0.6. Now, some teachers would say you have to put the leading 0 there, but that 0 has no value, okay? It's telling you that there is no whole number there. Now, this one is different, though. The decimal goes straight up. 12 goes into 7 0 times. You have to put that 0 and you have to leave it. 12 goes into 72 6 times. And so this one is 0.06. Totally different answer if you leave out that 0. All right, so we did this, the rules for multiplying in the last lesson. The rules for dividing are the same. 1 negative in the problem, 1 negative in the answer. So 40 divided by -8, -5. Negative 40 divided by 8, -5. 1 negative was in the problem. Now, one of the rules we need to go over in later lessons is that when you have division twice there, that's a tie. An order of operations says you have to do the one on the left first. So you have to do -40 divided by 4 first. That's a rule. It's not like multiplying or adding that you can do it in any order. So -40 divided by 4 is -10. The negative, right, 1 negative in the problem. There's still 1 negative in this problem, and the answer is still -5. Try those. So 3.2 divided by 8. 8 doesn't go into 3. Decimal straight up. 8 into 32 4 times. There was 1 negative in this problem, so this is -0.4. The next one is the same, except that it has 2 negatives. So what's the answer? It has to be +0.4. So if you do this, you have to do the first one first. Order of operations. So 4 goes into 3.2 8 times, and we get 0.8, but you get -0.8 here. And -0.8 divided by -2 turns out to be our +0.4. Again, 2 negatives in the problem, right? There was 2 negatives in the problem when we started. That means the answer is going to be positive. 0.8 divided by 2, 0.8 divided by 2 is in fact 0.4. Same, so that's how we write division in algebra. We hardly write division with the division symbol in algebra class. We almost always write that as a fraction, and notice that whatever's first would go up top, right? So if you had 10 divided by 2, that's the same as 10 over 2. All right, both of those are 5, but that's not what we're doing. We're saying that this is -8 8.6 divided by 2. So we have 8.6 divided by 2. We know this answer is going to be negative because there's one negative in the problem. 2 goes into 8 4 times. Decimal straight up. 6 straight down. 2 into 6 3 times. And the answer is negative 4.3, or negative 4 3/10. So now it's the same problem, but there are two negatives in the problem. So what's the answer? Well, hopefully you realize with two negatives, it changes over to positive 4.3. One negative in the problem, negative. Two negatives, it's positive. All right, so again, 0 is always the thing that makes exceptions. So I want you to do these two problems. One of them has the answer 0. The other does not have an answer. And the word we use for a math problem that doesn't have an answer is undefined. It means it doesn't have a definition. So this is 6 divided by 0, the first one. So how many times does 0 fit into 6? Well, let's see. If I have like a 6-gallon bucket, all right, a 6-gallon bucket, how many times could I fit 0 in there? Could I fit it 0 times? Well, I could fit it 0 in there one time. I could fit it in there 2 times. I could fit it in an infinite amount of times, right? You can put nothing into a 6-gallon bucket forever. That's 6 divided by 0. This does not have an answer. And when you have a problem like that, whenever 0 is out there, there's a little shortcut for you. The answer will be undefined. 0 can go into 6 forever. How many times does 6 fit into nothing? Well, it fits into nothing 0 times. So that one is 0. So it turns out 0 divided by 6 is 0. But 6 divided by 0 has no answer. All right, let's see if you understood that. Try these two. One is 0, one is undefined. This is the one that's undefined. All right, this is, right, so you'll never have 0 in a denominator. You'll never have 0 outside the division symbol, ever. It is always undefined. This one, 0 on top, you've had before. That's 0, right? 0 over 7, 0. 0 over 243, 0. Because 7 goes into 0 times. So we're at practice. Do these practice without my help, and then check your work. So 10 goes into 2 0 times. You've got to put that 0 there. 10 goes into 25 2 times. We're out of numbers. You bring down a 0. 10 into 55. So this is positive, since there's two negatives, 0.025. We're rounding again. Never have 0 down there, never have 0 out there. It will always be undefined.